get full access to RFR only on Patreon. Become a member of the RFR Patreon community to get more Rebel Force Radio. Bonus shows and content are available right now only at patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio.
Penetrated the shield and landed on Endor.
This is where the fun begins.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
This is Rebel Force Radio.
Your source for the Force.
Star Wars news and commentary.
With Jason Swank and Jimmy Mack.
I've seen Star Wars 500 times. Star Wars #1!
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Now it's time for Rebel Force Radio.
We would be honored if you would join us.
We're going to have to bring back that Another One Bites the Dust update theme. We used to play that whenever old expanded universe... Boy, those were the days when old expanded universe plot lines would get overturned by something canonical, you know, like in the Clone Wars or Rebels or something like that. We'd play Another One Bites the Dust, but here, unfortunately, it looks like another Star Wars film release has bitten the dust. And we, of course, will break that all down. What might it mean? Yes, that's right. Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron is delayed, though... to me, I think it may be more than just a delay. I think it's going to be one of those where they're going to just keep like the Rian Johnson trilogy. They're going to delay it, and they're going to keep delaying it, and hope that you and her and everyone else forgets about it. But that's just my take. That's my take. We'll hear what other people have to say as we get into the news. But Chut, great to have you all with us here. Rebel Force Radio, your source for the Force. We're already in mid-November. You know what that means. We got like 6 weeks till the Book of Boba Fett, but only a few days before Disney Plus Day. So what might that bring? There are rumors. We'll tell you what those rumors are. And again, so much more here as we, navigate through news, rumors, and all that good stuff with myself, Jason, and my good friend and yours from Chicago, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. Yeah, I'm looking forward to analyzing all the recent things that have gone down in the Star Wars universe. Plus, there's a lot of rumors flying around out there, too. So I believe that this Disney Plus Day that's coming up at the end of the week is going to be chock full of announcements, because usually when the rumors start swirling, that's when we're just right on the cusp of news breaking. So we'll be looking forward to that just a little bit, because the mystery will be solved. And we want this particular episode of Rebel Force Radio to have more than a few hours of shelf life, I think. So,
yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, we're going to speculate. And by the time you hear this, Though I don't know about the, I don't think we'll get any more clarification on the Patty Jenkins thing, as that's a theatrical release. So I don't think Disney Plus Day will bring us any, more detail on that. But certainly,
but it might give us a clue as to where they're heading. So,
true.
If the rumors have any sort of reality.
Yeah. Hey, before we go any further, I couldn't help but notice, because we do take video of this show, I couldn't help but notice that you're looking pretty good there, Valentine.
Yeah, so are you, Slick.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah. Well, we should probably explain why. Because most of you that are watching Rebel Force Radio are Patreon members, except for, some of the stuff we'll actually put out for on the YouTube. But if you're watching the video companion of this podcast, you are an all-access member of our Patreon supporters. So you may notice a little difference here. I've got the white dress shirt on. Jimmy Mack has the same. Well, how embarrassing. We both have the same colored dress shirt.
Oh, there's only so many colors of dress shirts you can have before you start drifting into the Hawaiian floral.
Don't make no mistake. There's only 2 acceptable colors of dress shirts.
Yeah.
For a man, white and blue. That's it. That's it.
All right,
if it's something else, it's not a dress shirt.
From the Swank Book of Fashion.
But if you're wondering why we're dressed this way, it's because you got to create the proper palette for some of this merch we're going to show off from cufflinks.com. These are great folks, and they have incredible, officially licensed stuff for the fine-dressed gentleman. Everything from colorful socks to, of course, you'd expect from cufflinks.com, cufflinks, tie bars, ties, anything that you... And here's the best part of what they've got. And what I like about it so much, Jim, is they offer a variety of designs, everything from really, obvious stuff like, cufflinks of Darth Vader's face to more subtle things like, the Imperial symbol, the Imperial cog, the Rebel symbol, which I have right now here on my cufflink.
Ooh, that's sharp.
Join the resistance.
Nice. French cuffs, too, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. French cuffs.
French cuffs. And I notice you've got... That's not just a regular paisley tie, is it? There's something going on there.
This is incredible. And I want to thank cufflinks.com for sending us all of this cool stuff. You could check out what we're talking about at cufflinks.com/Star Wars. But look at this tie. This is my new favorite tie. It's a great paisley tie, but if you look closely at it, you'll notice some familiar objects.
Is that a little Grogu I see?
You see Baby Yoda?
Yep. Look at that.
And then the Mando Death Head.
Oh my gosh, boy, that's what I love how subtle it is, because not every occasion is appropriate to wear, something real obvious, but you can have a little Star Wars, design just sort of hidden in your workwear. There it is, the Mudhorn. Look at that.
Mudhorn, all buried in the paisley.
Yeah.
Imperial cog. It's all here. And I have been wearing this tie, and it's so great because no one, not even the most hardcore of Star Wars fans, can spot that I'm wearing Star Wars gear until I tell them. It's been blowing minds everywhere I go. Wanted to show you this tie clip.
Oh,
Stormtroopers. Amazing.
That is cool.
It's just a great way to carry your Star Wars fandom with you without having it feel like you're under bright flashing neon lights all the time.
Yeah. Right. And it can be a bit of an initiation too, because it's subtle, but you might find that other person that looks across the conference room table and sitting there going, is that Baby Yoda? Am I crazy? Is that Baby Yoda on his tie? Is that an AT-AT on his tie bar? Why, yes, it is. So I'll show you my tie bar here. So I'll take it off so you can see. I love this because it's an AT-AT walking across the glaciers of Hoth, and you got some snow speeders in there in the midst of a battle. But it's so subtle. The light has to hit it just right, and then you see what it is. But I love it. And then my tie, also not paisley, but it's this kind of herringbone pattern, and it's got Millennium Falcons. You can see here, which is very cool.
That looks great.
Yeah.
That tie says Jason Swank, Star Wars fan to me.
But if you're kind of a couple of, if we're socially distanced, you're not going to notice.
And what I like is that their accessories come in cool collectible boxes, and inside you'll find great things like what's in here. It's a Baby Yoda tie pin or lapel pin.
Oh, lapel pin!
You can wear it on a tie pin too, but it works great as a lapel pin. And there he is, floating right along. Little
I love the boxes. I love the packaging. That was great. I haven't worn these socks yet, but it's getting to be that type of season. So I've got a pair of black and red Sith socks. So
that's amazing.
Perfect for Merry Sithmas. Dude, I've been looking at these socks for a couple of weeks now, sitting on my dresser, and I just realized now that that's the Death Star 2 right there.
Oh.
And then
you did not notice that.
I did not notice that. I noticed the Vader. It's pretty obvious. And then this thing that looks like a little snowflake could also be what Luke sees when he's about to blow up the Death Star there, the readout on the computer.
Very interesting. Well, I've been talking to the people at Cufflinks, and they're really great. And they are Star Wars fans themselves. It's a small family-run business. It's not some big giant corporation. They're brothers, they're Star Wars fans, and they own and run the company, and they are officially licensed. And they are the official provider of Mandalorian ties. They carry over 40 brands. So even outside of the Star Wars stuff, they have all kind of cool things to add to your wardrobe. And it's just a really great company run by really great people. You know, holidays are coming up.
Oh,
I strongly recommend visiting cufflinks.com/Star Wars. And they're going to let us give away a gift from cufflinks.com, Jason. So,
well, here's what we want you to do. As I say, we do release some of the video of our recording the podcast to YouTube. And we are going to release this segment over on YouTube. And all we want you to do is go watch it. I mean, it's one thing to listen to us describing these great products, but it's another thing to actually go watch it and see it. You can see us dressed up in our ties, in our cufflinks.
Hello to those who are watching right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. But anyway, what we want you to do is leave a comment down below. Leave a comment. We will pick one at random, and you will win some goodies from the folks over at cufflinks.com. And there's so much to choose from. In fact, I love this. They're so confident about how awesome their products are. They offer the mystery box of Star Wars merch. And right now, I mean, apparently it used to sell for $200. Right now, you can get it for $50. So that's going to be pretty amazing. I'm guessing that you're going to get $200 worth of value in that mystery box. I think that's what it says to me for $50. So why not give it a whirl?
That's a great gift. You can give it to someone because it's just as exciting for the person opening the gift to see what it is as it is for you, because you don't know what's in there. So it adds another element of excitement to the upcoming holiday season.
Hey, check this out. I just happened to see this on their website. I love this. So it's a matching father and son tie. So dad gets the regular tie and the son gets the child's zipper necktie. See, when I was a kid, you had clip-ons. Right. And that wasn't as cool as these zippers. So I'm digging that. So yeah, you can be wearing matching ties. It's great for going to church on Sunday, maybe a little Christmas Eve church service. And that's can be wearing the Mando.
So love clever stuff, great usage of the Star Wars license to bring you high quality items and accessories for your daily wear. Speaking of daily wear, I was invited to the Radio Hall of Fame, as I mentioned last week. It took place in Chicago, and I was wearing my cufflinks.com Star Wars gear and accessories, and I have a little video of it. You'll actually see me in action at the event. There it is. There, I'm sizing up the tie, looking good to me, and then all of a sudden it occurs to me, wow, there's little Star Wars emblems in there. This is getting exciting.
Oh, look at the socks.
Got the lightsaber sock on, green saber sock. And then there's the dark side.
On the left, you got the dark side, and on the right, you got the light side.
Here I am, proudly showing off my tie for all the media.
Well, I like it. Well, I didn't go anywhere as exciting as, the Hall of Fame, the Radio Hall of Fame Awards. I did wear all of this to the day job today. And no one noticed. But like you, Jim, I pointed it out, and people went, oh, look at that. Yeah, that is the Millennium Falcon. Oh, look at that. That is the Rebel symbol. And these cufflinks, I got to say, if you wear cufflinks regularly, which I do, you might be scared off by those sort of single post cufflinks as opposed to the kind that has the hinge in it. Well, don't be scared off. These are so well made and designed. They push through the buttonholes beautifully and didn't mess up the cuff or anything. Like, if you deal with lesser quality cufflinks, you might run into some of those problems. I didn't run into any of those problems. So it was Fantastic. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it.
Well,
I can't wait to wear the socks.
To our friends at cuffleaks.com/Star Wars. Please visit them, buy a gift for a friend, and let them know Rebel Force Radio sent you. That's cuffleaks.com/Star Wars.
I have good news for you, my lord.
That's good news. Come closer, I have good news.
Yeah, as we said at the top of the show, we started hearing some rumors about this, and then before you know it, boom, Hollywood Reporter reporting that by way of Boris Kitt over there reporting that Patty Jenkins Star Wars movie, the Rogue Squadron, which seemed to be, it's been delayed, but it seemed to be, Jim, the one that I thought was on the most firm footing. I mean, they really went out a year ago at that big event where they were announcing a whole slate of the television shows that were being developed for Disney Plus, and then Rogue Squadron, to the extent they even had like a little teaser. I don't know. Maybe you remember this. We've got the video of this. Check it out if this rings any bells.
I love to move fast and speed of any kind. I think that that's because I grew up the daughter of a great fighter pilot, and every day I would wake up and go outside and look up, see my father and his squadron taking off and their F-4s roaring across the sky, and it was the most thrilling thing still I've experienced in my entire life. So when he lost his life in service to this country, it ignited a desire in me to turn all of that tragedy and thrill into one day making the greatest fighter pilot movie of all time. But try as I might and look as I did, I couldn't find the right story ever. I kept looking and looking, but I just couldn't find the right one until now. Now I found a movie about two things I love. So I'm going to see you very soon.
Patty Jenkins.
They even had a logo. Look at that. I mean, it's a logo. They got to make the movie.
Benioff and Weiss didn't even get a logo for crying out loud.
No, I mean, it was such a great, heartfelt teaser, drawing upon the heroism of her father, who was a fighter pilot, lost his life. And so, to have that kind of a attachment, a real world attachment, and bring it into Star Wars, I think it could have been fantastic. Now, a lot of talk and rumor as to why this happened, but most everyone is pointing to the fact that Patty was attached to two other projects. One is the third Wonder Woman film, and the other is a Cleopatra movie.
Yes.
And that those may have been, or at least the Wonder Woman film may have been fast-tracked. There may have been some real desire on behalf of Warner Brothers to get that movie in. And it's likely, Jim, that it comes down to the fact that they were further along, with the Wonder Woman film than they were with the Rogue Squadron film. And, when you're attached to multiple projects, you go with the one that's the most, ready to roll in front of cameras or whatever the process is. I don't know. But
I don't think it was her choice. I don't think she's stepping away from Star Wars due to her own choice. I think it is happening, yes, because of Wonder Woman 3. Mm-hmm. But let's look at the timeline of events in Patty Jenkins' history here. She announces that she's going to be directing the remake of Cleopatra. This is in fall 2020.
Okay.
It's the pet project of Gal Gadot. They're going to work together on that film.
I'm assuming Gail was, she's eyeing that Cleopatra role, would be my guess.
Oh, yeah. I think, this is a project she is spearheading. And
so stepping into that iconic Elizabeth Taylor role of the original. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
She's not really Egyptian, though. That could be a problem.
Well, neither is Elizabeth Taylor. Neither is Elizabeth Taylor. So.
Okay, so fall of 2020, this gets announced.
Fall of 2020.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then we have the big Disney Investor Day, which happened in the middle of December 2020.
Yeah, almost a year ago.
Patty Jenkins Star Wars film gets announced. Rogue Squadron.
Yep.
2 weeks after that, following the release of Wonder Woman 1984 on HBO Max and in theaters, on the 28th of December, it is reported by the trades that Wonder Woman 3 is going to be fast-tracked. They want to get that sucker in theaters as fast as possible. Why was that decision suddenly made? Recently on Bondcast, we were talking about the headaches Pierce Brosnan went through when he was being considered to play the role of 007 after Roger Moore left in the mid-'80s. NBC stepped in. After canceling his show Remington Steele, they stepped in, exercised an option to prevent Pierce Brosnan from taking the role of James Bond. The role eventually went to Timothy Dalton. I can't help but think that this is some shady Hollywood stuff going on here by Warner Brothers to prevent Patty Jenkins from joining the Disney fold and becoming a Disney director.
Wow.
That's my pessimistic view and analysis of the news. I'm Jimmy Mack, your pessimistic Star Wars reporter.
So you don't think it's, as simple as just schedules and that sort of thing? You think that...
Well, that's why the schedules came into play.
Uh-huh.
It's because Wonder Woman 3 wasn't supposed to go into production maybe for another year or so.
Yeah.
But now they've tightened up the window on Patty by tracking Wonder Woman. So that's going to cut off any time for pre-production and shooting of Rogue Squadron in 2022. Mm-hmm. That's my speculation. Other people online are saying, well, the script sucked. Well, maybe it did. That would hold up production of anything.
Right.
That could be the problem as well. But it's just she was trying to fit her Star Wars gig in a very tight window. And it appears that window turned out to be too tight. Mm-hmm. What surprises me, though, is how they're not being so firm on the release date like they were with J.J. Abrams when he had to basically plead for them. After losing shooting time due to Harrison Ford's injury, he had to plead with them to give him a Christmas release as opposed to the Memorial Day weekend when they wanted to release The Force Awakens. He had to plead. But now it's just like, doesn't fit Patty's schedule. Let's just take it off the rundown here and let's shelve it. It's been shelved.
Well, but here's the big question. They still have, and we know that there's so much there used to be so much competition for theater space and just the market in general, releasing these big tentpole films. That's why you would see these companies announcing these things years in advance because they want to stake their claim. They want to, all over their territory for that weekend, whatever that weekend is. So this was 2023. Was it December? It was supposed to be December 2023 that this thing was going to be released. Do you think that they will still hold on to that date and push another Star Wars film or another Star Wars project into that slot?
Yes. I think there will be a Star Wars film going in front of cameras next year, just not Rogue Squadron.
Uh-huh.
Time for Plan B.
Yep.
Maybe even Plan C. And I think we have some stuff to talk about. But first, I wanted to just take a look at Patty's history with Star Wars.
Okay.
I have some clips of her talking about Rogue Squadron in an interview from last summer. I thought it'd be fun to re-listen to those clips and see if we can pick out any clues as to what may have derailed this whole thing.
So this was last summer, so just 7 months ago or so. Less than that.
Less than that, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So let's listen and see if there's any clue as to what the future was going to tell about this project.
I'm in love with all three projects on my plate right now. I'm definitely doing Rogue Squadron next, and I'm excited to do Wonder Woman 3. And so, these are all, and Cleopatra is coming along great as well. And so we'll see how it works out. But, I may just never stop. I may just make movies back to back if they would let me. I would love it.
Okay.
Well,
all right. So status quo there. I mean, but she does, cite all three of these projects, and they all seem to be moving along. She's psyched about all three, but she says, I'm definitely doing Star Wars next.
Yeah. Still feeling confident she'd be able to fit the whole pre-production and shooting schedule in before other commitments come into play. So what changed? It could be script difficulties, because what holds up films most often? And then that window gets tighter and tighter and tighter.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that she had planned to shoot Rogue Squadron, shoot Cleopatra, and then come back around for Wonder Woman 3. I think she thought there was a little more breathing room until she had to get back behind the camera for that.
Well, I think Warner Brothers is pretty confident about their Robert Pattinson Batman movie. I think they're feeling good about that. I also think they're feeling really good about the Flash movie, which is going to have a maybe even more than a little cameo from Michael Keaton reprising his role as the Dark Knight. And they're going to need something to follow that up. And of all the DCU characters and actors, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman is one of the most bankable. I mean, she's universally liked. Those films, by fans of all types, recognize that she's great Wonder Woman. She's great. So if they're going to back up or, follow up Pattinson's Batman and then the Flash, which is going to open up the multiverse, I can see them wanting to fast track Wonder Woman 3. I can. Makes sense to me.
So, so maybe it's just how it fits their schedule more than being this nefarious plan that they're going to derail.
Oh, I like your idea, though. I like the sort of like film studio espionage, just kind of blocking her from, because you can imagine that they would like, just because she's only attached to one film doesn't mean, especially if it's successful, that she wouldn't get something else. And, once they get their hooks in her, they're going to lure her away with all kinds of money. And then all of a sudden they're finding a new director for Wonder Woman. And yeah, I could see that happening. I like that theory.
It just might happen. And then, of course, a lot of people are going to start saying that the cancellation of this project, and for all intents and purposes, this thing is canceled for now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was in the mid 80s when they wanted Pierce Brosnan to play Bond, but he didn't get the role finally until 1995. So things could happen. Things could happen.
Yeah.
But it just seems like Patty has too much on her plate right now. It's just not going to work for her. So the question is now, and you asked it at the beginning of the show. To finish my thought, I just wanted to say that there's no indication that Kathleen Kennedy is going anywhere. So for all the sharks swimming in the water thinking you're smelling blood, you're smelling something else. So go smell somewhere else.
I've given up on that. I mean, I just assume that Kathleen Kennedy's going to be around forever.
I would like to see her shift to a non-creative role within the company.
Could be happening, though. Could be happening.
The reins over to the Filoni Feige or the Filoni Favreau.
Freudian slip.
It could be Feige. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think Filoni and Favreau are the two guys who are on the inside track, and I would love to see them get full control over the Star Wars franchise. We are learning from insiders that Filoni and Favreau were even in a position where they were able to offer notes on the Kenobi project, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, why would you not? Why would you not let those guys look at it?
And it is because of their notes that Darth Maul has been removed as the antagonist for Kenobi, and that's how Darth Vader got inserted in the role. So, no Darth Maul coming up in the Obi-Wan Kenobi film. There's rumors out there that there could be an animated Darth Maul series. I could see, because Lucasfilm, they're really putting a lot of stock in the whole Crimson Dawn story arc that they had to abandon due to Solo. And I don't think that the people working at Lucasfilm want to leave any loose ends. That's why there's going to be certain retcon of Rise of Skywalker continuity, or not necessarily retcon, but post-con. I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? Well, but I mean, things will be more, more of a foundation for that story to fill in the obvious plot holes that we spend a lot of time on this show talking about.
Yeah.
Head-scratching moments. There's an opportunity to fix that in the mythology. And I believe that the folks at Lucasfilm are trying to take advantage of that, as well as the loose thread of the Crimson Dawn and the appearance of Darth Maul.
Well, there was some serious world building going on with Crimson Dawn and the whole underground, everything from, the abandoned video game underworld and that whole, and you can see more of that starting to show up with that Boba Fett trailer, that this is a part of the universe that they're really investing in. Yes, we got the Empire, we got the Rebellion, we got the Resistance, we got the First Order, but I think they're really going to start defining and building out this underworld aspect.
Yes. And an animated series could be the route to go. The only problem is there is yet to be any kind of reputable source talking about this right now. And a friend of ours today
except us. We're reputable.
A friend of ours today said, "What, can anybody just put anything they want on the internet?"
The answer is yes.
As a matter of fact.
Yeah, the answer is yes. Well, let me throw...
head-scratching ones are sometimes when these guys get a bunch of steam and mojo going off of it. And it just, check out the scoreboard with these guys and see if they've ever come up with anything that turned out to be correct. And you'll find that the answer is typically 0 with an H.
Well, all right. So this story was this story started percolating. The one about Patty Jenkins. When was that? That hit on the 6th, was it? I think. But actually yesterday. So it was
last weekend. Last weekend is when the buzz started.
The buzz, yes, I was going to say the buzz started at the end of last week, going into the weekend, and it wasn't until Boris Kitt's piece in Hollywood Reporter that it was confirmed, this delay of the Patty Jenkins film. But that didn't stop, as our mutual friend pointed out, people going online and making some speculations. There was a Twitter user, and again, I'm almost hesitant to drop. I want to give credit, but I don't like dropping these names because I don't want to make it sound like I'm vouching for any of these people. I don't know who they are, but there was a Twitter user, Big Screen Leaks, who said there's a Star Wars film planning to shoot next year. It's not Taika's film, Feige's film, or Rogue Squadron. And that was posted on November 5th, just a few days before Hollywood Reporter confirmed the Patty Jenkins story. And then that was followed up by Adam Frazier, who said, "The Republic that makes you old." So that's that, yeah.
Well,
that's Adam
Frazier, and why would we care if he's saying?
Well, he's over at Slash Film now. He did scoop Rosario Dawson's casting as Ahsoka.
Okay.
So he's got some credibility there. So
I'm not saying he doesn't have credibility. I just
no. Well, right. Who cares? Who is he?
Vague post there. Vague post.
But it was a follow-up. But it was a response to Big Screen Leaks tweet about there's a Star Wars film planning to shoot next year, and he commented and said the Republic that makes you old. So there's some rumors about that this could be an old Republic, but again, not Taika's movie, not Feige's movie, not Patty Jenkins. This is something. This would have to be moved very quickly throughout production, wouldn't you say?
This is a film that is currently being written or has already been written by Laeta Kalogridis.
There's been so many names attached to this stuff, but
yeah. Well, this was reported way back in 2019, spring of 2019, that Laeta Kalogridis has written a movie based on Star Wars Night of the Old Republic. BuzzFeed are the ones who broke that story. At Star Wars Celebration in April 2019, Kathleen Kennedy talked to MTV News, and we have a clip of her talking about the Old Republic here with MTV.
Knights of the Old Republic, a lot of fans want to see that. Is there any development of that?
We talk about that all the time. Yes, we are developing something to look at. Right now, I have no idea where things might fall, but we have to be careful that there is a cadence to Star Wars that doesn't start to feel like too much. We don't have a crystal ball. We tried a little bit with Solo to see if we could do 2 movies a year and whether or not there was really an opportunity for that. And we felt that's not going to work, so we backed off of that a little bit. But it doesn't mean we don't think about lots of different stories, because that's the exciting thing about this universe.
So there's definitely something in development at all times at Lucasfilm.
Right.
We certainly don't know probably half of the projects they have in development right now. And
I don't know. They seem to announce everything. They seem to put a date. They seem to,
Well, they have. And it gets really frustrating. And it hurts my confidence in them as a studio when I look back at how many different projects have been shelved. Mm-hmm. Now, I know this happens a lot in Hollywood, but we're talking about Star Wars.
Right.
These films should reach the point of creation just based on that clout alone. Star Wars is one of the most bankable franchises in the history of film, if not the most bankable franchise.
Right. Right. And, again, I've made a lot of both on Bondcast and this one about what happens when you've got so much corporate involvement with with something as creative as filmmaking. And one of the challenges is that you constantly have to be dangling new projects and exciting new things in front of the shareholders. And so that often forces the hand of the studio heads that are, they're being controlled by the corporate overlords that own the studio or have majority rights to the studio, whatever, to make these announcements timed, coincidentally or not, with various, stockholder annual meetings or quarterly meetings or reports. And so this has, I think, become sort of an infection in this process. And so it does, but I don't get it because, do these shareholders just have really short-term memories? So like all they got to hear is, we got this slate of new films and TV shows in development. And then they're never checking back in. It's up to Rebel Force Radio and Star Wars fans to say, hey, remember that show we were going to get? Or remember that movie we were going to get?
Short memories because something shiny and new gets dangled in front of them.
Yep.
And shareholders are like cats. They'll just go wherever you shine the flashlight sometimes.
All right, but if you're a shareholder, you're speaking out as a fan saying, hey, this rocks my confidence in the studio. If you're a shareholder, wouldn't it also rock your confidence in where you're investing your money?
Well, of course.
Yeah. So I don't see how this strategy works at the end of the day. I guess it does because we continue to see it.
So you have this Knights of the Old Republic that was in development. And I believe things have shifted around now in Laeta Kalogridis' schedule that she is now available. There was a project she was working on, but it's no longer there. It's been shelved, apparently. And so now all of a sudden she's out there and she can work on something. So that might force her into Star Wars again because a vacuum has been created due to Rogue Squadron being removed from the schedule. So all of a sudden we started hearing rumors about a Knights of the Old Republic film picking up steam over the course of the last few weeks. And now we're hearing from top trades like Hollywood Reporter letting us know Rogue Squadron is off the schedule. No longer in production. It barely got into production, but I mean, it obviously was into various levels of pre-production as a story was being fleshed out. You know how they work over there with the artists at work.
Oh yeah.
You know, in concert with the writers.
Now that's something like you were saying, you think there's always something, in development. I think the artists over there, the designers, they're always, banging out, potential ideas for these treatments and some scripts and all that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And filmmakers like Zack Snyder are going in and pitching ideas they have for Star Wars. Zack Snyder pitched a film idea that got rejected by Lucasfilm, and now he's taking it and turning it into an original thing. So it won't have all the Star Wars cliches and tropes and set decoration and all that, but it will be a film that he intended to be a Star Wars film originally.
Well, and if it's a big hit and fans love it, then it's going to be like, how do we let this one get away?
There'll be a lot of talk. And there's always a lot of talk surrounding Mr. Zack Snyder, let me tell you.
For sure.
But so there's constantly pitches going on. And if history tells us anything, some pitches are greenlit and thrown right into production. Others are put on the back burner, put on the shelf, whatever you want to say. But here's one moment in Disney Star Wars history where something happened similar to this notion that we have that a KOTOR movie could fill the void of Rogue Squadron. And that is when Josh Trank's Boba Fett film went belly up in 2015 in the most spectacular fashions. It was like the big one at Talladega. You NASCAR fans know what I'm talking about. It was spectacular crash. And what did Kathleen Kennedy do when she didn't have a Boba Fett film to put on the schedule? She went to Lawrence Kasdan and said, remember that Solo film that you were working on? Because that's how Kasdan got brought back into the fold, was when George Lucas still owned the company, he was ramping up production on the Star Wars sequels. And he also was bringing in people that he had worked with in the past, his friends, guys like Lawrence Kasdan, and saying, do you want to work on one of these sequel projects with me, or do you want to do something in Star Wars? And Kasdan's like, I don't want to really go back and work on those characters, but I do like Han Solo a lot, and I have a origin story for him. And Kasdan was working on developing a script and researching, and all of a sudden, Michael Arndt got blown out, George Lucas got blown out, and J.J. Abrams was writing the film, and he wanted Lawrence Kasdan's assistance. So they pulled Kasdan off the Solo thing and gave him an offer he couldn't refuse, clearly, and had him hook up with J.J. to write The Force Awakens. Force Awakens gets released. Kasdan's exhausted, and they come up to him after the Trank thing blows up, and they go, hey, Larry, remember that Solo movie you wanted to do? And Kasdan's like, that's still happening. And so that's how Kasdan's son got brought into the fold, because Larry wasn't up for tackling the Solo script after he had exhausted himself under the gun writing The Force Awakens with J.J. Abrams. So that's how the Solo film got made. It had to fill the vacuum that was left from Josh Trank's Boba Fett disaster. And so I think history might be repeating itself here.
Which, of course, begat, we think, concepts from that Boba Fett film is what was the genesis of Mandalorian.
And we'll probably see elements of it in the Book of Boba Fett as well.
Right. So no good ideas are lost forever.
Well, we might find out on Friday. I don't want to dwell too much on this because, like I said, a lot of people listening to the show will have already heard the news, if any, that breaks on Disney Plus Day on Friday. I got the Disney Plus Day stockings hung by the chimney with care in hopes that old Bob Iger will be there.
Yeah, I'm going to leave I'm going to leave my stockings out and see what Bob stuffs into them. What an image.
I'm hoping the gifts come from his wallet this year. Yeah, he could stuff many stockings with his paycheck. But here we go. And we know Bob Iger has stepped aside.
Right, it's Bob Chapek. But Bob Iger's funnier than Bob Chapek.
Yeah, much funnier. Yeah, to us, he is. At least. And by the way, Mr. Iger, if you're listening, you haven't called us up with any updates from the CEO's office. And I really miss that. So if you're listening, Mr. Iger, an update, we'd like to hear how life is away from all the hustle and bustle of running the company is treating you. So
I'm sure he's on a porch somewhere in a rocker, just taking it easy,
sipping on lemonade. Okay, but here are the rumors.
Okay,
potential things that might happen on Disney Plus Day. We'll get a teaser trailer for Kenobi. I think likelihood of that is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen any footage, and it's all in the can.
But would it take too much? Would it take too much away from the Boba Fett excitement, Jim? We just got the Boba Fett teaser.
Yeah, well, I think
more than a teaser, full trailer.
I think they want to drop a sizzle reel for that show as well. The Book of Boba. So a trailer for Kenobi, a sizzle reel for Book of Boba, and of course a teaser trailer could be anything. It could be just like a cloak flying in the wind or something. Wind sun set in the background. I don't know.
Right. I mean, look at the Patty Jenkins trailer we just looked at. This, teaser. It had nothing to do with the movie. I mean, it just was a piece on her. So
yeah, but the difference is that the Kenobi show is in the can.
That's correct.
Shot.
That's correct.
Rogue Squadron had nothing. That was a promo piece.
Yeah,
it was. Okay. Also a sizzle reel for Andor. We've received sizzle reels for Andor in the past, but it wouldn't be surprising if we got some more footage to hype that up.
Amazing that we've seen more Andor than we've seen of Kenobi. We've seen absolutely nothing of Kenobi.
We've seen nothing, but Andor has been shooting for a very long time now at this point. It started shooting late last year. So definitely a lot of material for that. Also a sizzle reel for Mando season 3, which I find kind of hard to believe because that just went in front of the cameras a few weeks ago, but it's been a few weeks. So they might have a little sizzle for us. A Bad Batch season 2 trailer or teaser. Or teaser. Maybe we'll get some Rekka. And some new project announcements and new animated series announcements. So if Darth Maul series is indeed going to drop, we might be hearing about it on Friday. Or none of this stuff could happen.
Right.
Nothing could happen. This is all total rumors. And I think the teaser trailer for Kenobi is the most likely.
Man, oh man, as much as I want to believe all of this, it's so hard for me to imagine that they would sort of fragment the collective imaginations and attention spans of the fans with that much content. I mean, I would love it, but I don't see it happening. I agree with you that probably the smart money is on some sort of teaser for Kenobi and maybe something with Bad Batch, because we know that that's also pretty far along, if not complete. I don't think we'll see anything for Mando season 3. And maybe a follow-up to Book of Boba Fett. But then again, that's only been out for 2 weeks at this point, or a little over a week. The Boba Fett trailer, that's still sinking into people. I don't know. Well, the other thing,
we're definitely in the window where promotion and hype for that show should start ramping up. We should start seeing stuff about the Book of Boba Fett.
Right, but we just saw a big trailer.
Well, let's see a bigger trailer. It's a TV show.
Yeah.
So the release of footage isn't, in my opinion, going to be as preciously guarded as, say, trailer releases for feature films.
Because there's more to show. There's hours and hours and hours. Yeah.
Right on.
Good point.
Now, Disney, or with Star Wars in the Disney era, they've always shown reluctance to provide us with footage from anything outside of the first 1 or 2 episodes of the season that we're heading into, or the second half of the season that we're heading into. They show great reluctance providing us with anything but just scraping the top of the surface. But I'm fine with that. I'll take top of the surface as long as there's more Bamar monks, sign me up.
Yeah. The other thing that's given me pause, Jim, is the format of this Disney Plus Day. Unlike, say an Apple event where they're releasing new products, or an upfront that you might see with networks or this, other than there's two panels, there's two actual programs that are going to be aired on Disney Plus Day. There's a Pixar presentation, and then there's a Marvel MCU presentation. Other than that, all of the press seems to suggest that any other content is going to be happening on the Disney Plus social media platforms throughout the day, dropping throughout the day in and around these other two panels. So that, to me, signals that it's going to be Star Wars light.
Yeah, I think you're right. There is a Boba Fett special that will be dropping on Disney Plus, which might feature sneak peeks at the upcoming season of the Book of Boba Fett. We can't rule that out. It only seems natural that we'll get something in that Boba Fett special about the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And when is that? When is that hitting?
It's a Boba Fett special that'll be dropping on Disney Plus on Friday.
Oh, on Disney Plus Day.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything in the press. I've been scouring the various announcements for Disney Plus Day, and I haven't seen anything attached with a Boba Fett special. You'd think that would be part of the.
Yeah, that's definitely happening, and it's going to drop on November 12th, which is this Friday, and it's going to sort of tell the history of Boba Fett. It's a special look at the character, and it's to kind of get people up to speed with his mythology before we roll into his own series. And I think that it would be only natural that you get hype for the Book of Boba Fett in that show, if not actual footage itself. So we'll be looking at that really closely. And to bring another event into Disney Plus Day that you might not be aware of, Jason, is that AMC Theaters. Have you heard about this?
No.
They're holding a special surprise Disney Plus Day screening. So on Friday at certain AMC theaters, you can go see a Pixar film, a Walt Disney animation film, a Disney film, and a Star Wars fan favorite movie. And this is going to be happening all weekend from the 12th through the 14th. There are going to be these special surprise screenings. And the trick is that you won't know what the movie is until it starts. But my Rebel Spies, a.k.a. the Babu Freaks, Tyler Page and the gang. So my top secret freaks, they looked at the running time of the film that's going to be screened on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to match up with Rogue One. Spoiler alert.
I guess okay.
I guess you're supposed to say spoiler alert before you say the thing that you spoiled. But
spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
It's going to be Rogue One.
I was looking, I keep looking back at these stories about Disney Plus Day, and I see nothing about, I'm not denying it, I'm seeing nothing about this Boba Fett special.
Well, it's happening. It's going to happen, Captain. And we'll be talking about it because we'll be getting together on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern for a live RFR stream on YouTube at the RFR YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be taking live calls and talking about any and all reveals that go down on Disney Plus Day. So join us this Saturday on the RFR YouTube channel. We'll be taking your calls. Tyler will be with us. And it all starts at 4 p.m. Eastern. what is that? 1 p.m. Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Be there. I was just trying to think of what it is Central, so I'll be there.
Yeah,
3 p.m.
You'll be there at 3 p.m. Yeah.
Let's not leave out our so-called flyover states, but yeah, we'll be there. And, it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll get a lot to talk about, maybe some clues about what's going to fill in the void left from Rogue Squadron. Maybe we'll hear that it's a Old Republic film. Maybe we even might get info about Kevin Feige's Star Wars film that's been shrouded in mystery.
Well, given the news that the Babu freaks have broken, that the Star Wars film in the theaters for this big day is Rogue One, that does, I think, give a little bit more credibility to the rumor that we might be seeing some Cassian Andor footage material. I mean, if they're looking to create synergy from what's happening in these AMC theaters with what's being shown on Disney, this feels very, I don't know. I mean, it's very 2021. You know, as I'm old fashioned, I like things really straightforward, and I don't like having to jump across all these different channels and all these different platforms and all these different places. It kind of makes me nuts, to be honest with you. I would love just to sit down and watch an hour or 2 hour special on Disney Plus and throw all this stuff at me. I got to go to the movie theater. I got to be on the Twitter. I got to be on the Facebook. I got to be. It's just. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. I'm just trying to collect action figures, and I gotta, you know, how many different websites and things I have to check just to get, you know, continue my action figure collection.
Even more so, part of the exclusive event, there's some sort of short that will be shown with these films. And I don't know if the short is necessarily going to be specifically Star Wars. It could be the same short that shows in front of a Pixar screening or a Disney screening. It could all be the same thing. Or it could be franchise specific. It could be Pixar specific. It could be Star Wars specific. I don't know.
You know, something else we haven't heard much about lately is that droids.
A droid
project.
story.
A droid story. Yeah. To me, that sounds like perfect fodder for like a short of some sort or a series of shorts.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
something feature length.
That's going to be an ILM production. So hopefully they're throwing everything, including the kitchen sink at the wall to see what sticks and come up with something truly revolutionary and great with their incredible animation. But that's what I imagine that thing's going to be is photorealistic CGI R2 and 3PO on some sort of adventure. And I hope it blows our minds. I really do. I can't wait to hear Anthony Daniels return to C3PO and that'll be a lot of fun. So maybe we'll talk to Anthony again once that comes out.
Well, as you said, Jim, I mean, now the speculation is all about what is going to go into theaters in December of 2023.
Yes.
Now that the Rogue Squadron is pushed out of the way. You mentioned Kevin Feige. There's some rumors heating up about who might be directing his film. And one of the names being bandied about is Chloe Zhao. And Chloe's the director of the new Marvel film Eternals. And this is an interesting choice because this film has been met with kind of a collective, I think, for the most part. I think your diehard Marvel fans are, you know, excited because it opens up some new doors for storytelling. And, but it's, you know, I'm hearing words like boring, snore, you know, uneventful,
dull.
Yeah. With this. So, you know, if this was the next Iron Man, you know, or if this was the next Avengers and it was just tearing it up, I could see them saying, hey, you know, get this Chloe Zhao. She's going to do this Kevin Feige Star Wars project. But with the reception this is getting, which is kind of lackluster, not terrible. No one's saying, oh, this, you know, don't let this woman anywhere near anything else. It's not that at all. It's just kind of a,
Yeah, very mixed reviews for Eternals. I think a lot of people were looking at it thinking, oh, this could be the next offshoot of the Marvel Universe, a la Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think it quite went down that way. And from what I understand, some characters got really put on the back burner while other characters got focused. There's like 10 of these Eternals. And so it's hard to focus on certain characters throughout a film and give them all the lion's share of the spotlight. You just can't do that. And apparently this is something that this director had struggled with a little bit during the shooting of the film. We've had an insider tell us that she and Feige clashed during the making of Eternals, not necessarily in a bad way, just in a professional way. Well, creative differences sometimes does ring true. And this insider said, I would be surprised if she came back. So that's just what we're hearing.
Came back to another Feige project.
Another Feige production specifically. Yes.
Yeah. Now, Chloe Zhao is a Oscar winner. So for her film Nomadland, which I know nothing about, but nonetheless, there she is. You can see her with her Oscar here. So I don't really have, an opinion either way. I'd love to know more about what Feige's project is. We just know it's the Feige Star Wars film, just like it's the Taika Waititi film. Yeah. We don't know anything about it.
Yeah. And
either of them.
Waititi film, still being written. Maybe it just appears that the Old Republic is the one that's most ready to go in front of cameras. It's the one that's most developed at this point by Lucasfilm. Because we also know that Lucasfilm is redoing the Knights of the Old Republic video game. They hired a new writer to create. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be the same game, just with modern skin on it, but it's a complete new thing that they're doing.
So it's kind of be like a reboot. It's based on the classic story. It's just kind of a new spin on it.
Right. Yeah. Possibly with the same characters, possibly not. I don't know. But we know that's happening. So obviously, Knights of the Old Republic has received a new sense of attention. And if the film indeed is their plan B for Rogue Squadron, then that's totally understandable. Plus, it puts Lucasfilm in a good spot to take Star Wars into the future, because Knights of the Old Republic is not necessarily handcuffed by what they call the Skywalker saga. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. This could be a sub-franchise in its own right. You won't see trilogies coming from Lucasfilm anymore. This I know.
But interesting. They're anti-trilogy now?
Yeah, they've been anti-trilogy for a while. That happened sometime after the release of The Last Jedi, when the announcement was made that they were going to stop the saga films. And that's when the decision was firmly made just to have one-off films that interconnect, but don't necessarily feed off of each other so much that they can't stand alone.
I got to say that I'm not disappointed to hear that, because other than George Lucas, who was able to commit himself to multiple films, if every big Star Wars film arc has to be done in threes just because of tradition, which I love that tradition, but is it realistic in today's day and age? Because I think all you would do is just, again, create this relay race of storytelling like you had with the sequel trilogy that didn't work out that well. I'd much rather it be confined to, single releases, but really well thought out, tie them together. Makes great sense. I mean, look at what they've done with Marvel. They didn't have to commit to however many films it's been, a dozen films. They just one at a time, get them out there and tie them in together.
Yeah. And I believe that's the approach now being taken by Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
The last trilogy that they announced was Rian Johnson's, and that was 4 years ago. And so there's been no movement as far as that goes. And shortly after that, then the brakes were put on the film franchise in general.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting to watch all this.
Well, Rian Johnson's still counting all his money from Netflix.
Well, that's when they were able to swoop in.
Yeah.
Lucasfilm had Rian Johnson.
More studio espionage.
Yeah, they want more of that. So, boy, and they gave him a fortune to do his thing over there. Netflix. Wow. They offered him a ton of money.
$500 million.
Benioff and Weiss, same thing.
Yeah.
Benioff and Weiss, same deal with Netflix. And you'll notice the verbiage in all of the Benioff and Weiss talk when they were associated with Lucasfilm. They never were associated via a trilogy. It was always a series of films. From the Game of Thrones guys.
Well, the smart money on that was the Old Republic story. Those were the guys that were going to bring that to the big screen because of their sort of medieval fantasy style that they, with Game of Thrones. So
yeah, it's all starting to come together now. That's another thing for the evidence lab is Benioff and Weiss in general being brought on to work on Star Wars, probably specifically for Knights of the Old Republic.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. This was an interesting one. I saw this on the rundown. I was excited because I haven't heard these clips yet, but of course, fans know Matt Smith was rumored for a long time to be in episode 9. I mean, it was all but official, and then he just never showed up in the movie. And so apparently he's actually able to talk about this now, or at least I don't know about able, but he is talking about this now.
Yeah. I mean, talk about supposed to be in the movie. I think even a Disney press release featured his name among the cast members at one point.
Yeah.
But the role got stripped away from him, and he is yet to speak about it publicly until Josh Horowitz, Star Wars fan extraordinaire Josh, who hosts the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast. And Josh, of course, is an entertainment journalist who has been active in the field for many, many years. He's a total pro, and it's like having a man on the inside, because whenever he gets someone who is vaguely associated with Star Wars, he'll ask them a Star Wars question. And a lot of people come across his way because he is a premier entertainment journalist. And Matt Smith is out there promoting the new film from Edgar Wright, Last Night in Soho. And he's in it. And during the conversation, Josh hijacks the conversation about the new Edgar Wright film so he can talk Star Wars and get a scoop from Matt Smith. And he does just that.
You were going to be in the Rise of Skywalker. Matt, did you ever shoot any Star Wars scenes?
No, I didn't. There was, we were close to me being in it, but then it just never quite happened. I think the thing they were thinking of me for, eventually the part became, it became obsolete and they didn't need it. And so I never got to be in Star Wars.
Oh,
yeah. You notice he's like, the part that they had me in mind for became irrelevant. We don't want to say it obsolete. Yeah. It became Ian McDiarmid's part. It became old man emperor, not young clone emperor.
I tend to think Matt was in the Colin Trevorrow script, The Duel of the Fates. That's where I think he was.
Do you?
But it could have been that a younger Palpatine clone was being explored.
That's what I think it was. Yeah.
That's what happened in the Dark Empire comic series from Dark Horse in the 90s. And Rise of Skywalker certainly took a lot from that comic series where you had the young Palpatine.
Right.
But people have been speculating he could have been Palpatine's son.
Yes.
Maybe it was in an expanded role as opposed to just taking the knife to the gut, courtesy of Ochi from Bestoon.
I would have loved to have seen a little more meat on the bones of that character, because that's a linchpin in this whole saga of Rey. I mean, that was just kind of, that guy.
Trevorrow's script featured a visit to Mortis. And so a lot of people are speculating Matt Smith may have played the son. The son. The Mortis son. The force wielders of Mortis. He could have played the son. So
that's a big part. The son.
There's a big part.
I know.
That would be, because he says, well, let's just listen to what he says. It's probably best because the talk of his character does come up. That's what I love about Josh Horowitz. He's just going to go for it all.
Yeah. Why not? What do you got?
Was this Palpatine's son? Was that who you were playing?
I could not possibly say. But it was a pretty groovy thing. It was a really groovy part and concept. It was pretty big. It was a big thing. It was like a big story detail, like a transformative Star Wars story detail. But it never quite got over the line. It was a big shift in the history of the franchise.
Wow.
A big shift in the history of the franchise. Wow. In the history. So
maybe the Mortis son was behind all the events.
Wow.
Of the Star Wars saga. And we just didn't see it.
What if it was just the Mortis son playing with his action figures and that's what Star Wars was?
He's like Andy from Toy Story.
Yeah.
At the end. Episode 9 ends with Andy dinner, and he goes running out of the room, and the action figures are just sitting there on the floor.
Yeah, you see his name carved into the bottom of the Darth Vader Kenner action figure.
Cue the Randy Newman song, and we're out of here.
I like Star Wars.
He does the Bill Murray thing. Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
There's some bad Randy Newman impressions for you.
Terrible, the worst. We never heard Randy Newman. It was so bad. But what do you want?
Every song is just like this when you're Randy Newman.
There you go. Now we're hitting it. Go Swank, go.
All right, we got another clip here of Matt Smith. Any more clues?
We got another clip. I just did want to point out though in that last clip. It's really funny to hear Josh Horowitz react when Matt says that his character would have been really transformative to the series. Just play it again because you'll hear Josh in the background go, "Oh!" It's so funny. Listen closely. I'll tell you when it happens.
Yeah, it was like a big story detail, like a transformative Star Wars story detail, but it never quite got over the line. It was a big shift in the history of the franchise.
The reaction. Oh my God! What did we miss out?
He's reacting for all of us. He's taking that one for all of us.
Yeah, it sure does sound good.
Yeah,
it sure does. And also Matt Smith's usage of the term groovy in the year 2021 sounds good too. We got to bring that back. Let's bring back groovy, folks.
Right.
I've heard much of that since I was a little kid.
Like groovy.
So groovy, baby. I think Austin Powers was the last one to get away with using that term socially.
Yes.
And receive social acceptance while doing it.
Groovy.
Groovy, baby. All right, Matt Smith. One more from Matt. He talks about wardrobe fittings for episode 9. Did they ever happen?
Did you ever get into costume? Was there a costume test? How far along did you get?
There was no costume. There were a couple of meetings to talk about it. And
okay. The good part is you still have your Star Wars eligibility card, so it's a long career.
Well, maybe I can come back. You never know.
Yeah. Why not? Come back. Well, he claims, it's right out of his mouth, nothing was filmed.
Nothing
was filmed. And there's a lot of conspiracy stuff out there. Like there's this extra cut of the movie with his scenes intact or part of his scenes intact. And he didn't even get to try on any wardrobe.
No. Yeah. No armor, no caftans.
No cloaks.
No shorty robes. Nothing for Matt Smith.
Right.
You got nothing. No helmets, nothing. So that's interesting. That never happened. Something else that never happened, we've been talking about it for the last few weeks now, is the Spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn appearing in The Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
This is our third and final follow-up because every time we talk about it, there's a lot of buzz online. And so last week I wanted to be as comprehensive as possible
Oh, you laid it all out, the whole history of the Qui-Gon disembodied voice, apparition, everything minus a proper Force ghost. Do not have.
Well, I'll tell you what. We were incomplete, even despite all of that research, and I knew we were. And our friends at the official Rebel Force Radio Facebook group, they're all over it, and they're talking, and
they're fact checkers.
Well, yeah, or maybe just, memory providers.
That's more like it.
So this show will be a real interesting blank slate when I'm podcasting in my 60s, folks. You're going to love it. Swank's going to go crazy. Never correcting me, though. Just listening to
just letting him roll.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead. We'll find out days later. What do you care, Swank? All right. So here we got reminders.
Yeah.
Of important moments in the history of the Spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn. And here's a good one, which I completely forgot about because it's on the Revenge of the Sith DVD. Deleted scenes on the DVD. There were a lot of animatics, pre-production, concept work done to help the filmmakers get a solid vision for how the film is going to look with all of those massive special effects sequences, give them a good idea how to shoot the thing.
Yeah, George called them cartoons. You make me a cartoon of that?
Yeah.
I got this idea. Make it a cartoon.
We have a meeting with those Looney Tunes. There you guys do those Looney Tunes. How about a rascally rabbit next time?
I like to give them a bunch of ideas that I have no intention of actually doing.
Yeah. What do I care? They get paid the same. So I was reminded of this animatic, and I found it and provided it to you, Jason, so we could watch
it right here.
Together. But this is the deleted scene from Revenge of the Sith, featuring the dialogue between Yoda and Qui-Gon Jinn. The moment when Yoda actually hears about Qui-Gon's noble cause, which is to train Yoda from the beyond in the ways of achieving everlasting life through the Force. And we listened to the audiobook last week, but that was pretty dense in dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little more stripped down and straight to the point. All the dialogue is different from what we heard in the audiobook or read in the illustrated screenplay anywhere. So here it is, The Spirit of Qui-Gon, a George Lucas cartoon. All right. Starting off here at Polis Massa.
When I became one with the Force, I made a great discovery. With my training, you will learn to merge with the Force at will. Your physical self will fade away, but you will still retain your consciousness. You will become more powerful than any Jedi could imagine.
Well, I was waiting for Yoda's eyes to open. I remember seeing this now. And Jim, I think that maybe for some of us, seeing that animatic on the DVD all those years ago maybe stuck in our heads and made us think, yeah, they filmed that. Didn't they film that? There is a scene with Yoda hearing Qui-Gon. But
yeah, right. And I always thought that that was the moment when Qui-Gon said, I was trained by a shaman of the wills. But I can't find any evidence of Liam Neeson saying that dialogue. And
comic
it's not
book,
heard,
maybe?
Maybe. It's not heard here in this animatic. It was voiced by an unknown ILM employee. Sounds a little like Lorne Peterson, if you ask me. Longtime ILM model maker, Lorne Peterson. That's who that sounds like to me, and it very well might be.
Yeah, but also sounds like it was pitched down.
A little bit.
Because it's a little slow. So
a little bit. So that is what George obviously intended to place into Revenge of the Sith. He just didn't want to show his hand so much.
If you recall, we talked about the difference between what a George version would be of that same, little monologue of Qui-Gon that we heard in the audiobook. George would never have had that much detail in the script. So it's bore out in what we just heard, a very, very abbreviated version of that, but everything that we needed to know. You maintain your consciousness, you lose your physicality, you become more powerful than any Jedi.
It firmly sets up the death of Obi-Wan, which happens in the next film if you watch them numerically.
Right.
It firmly sets it up. But maybe George felt like it didn't need a setup. He liked the surprise, the moment of surprise when Obi-Wan disappears. I know as a kid growing up in the 70s, that's a moment you cherish, you know? Right. Where'd he go? Where the hell did he go? And then for the longest time, too, as kids, we thought that the lightsaber would disintegrate you.
Yes. Yep. I remember thinking that. Mm-hmm.
Younger fans can't possibly wrap their heads around that idea. But I carried that with my personal kid canon for a long time.
I remember wondering why
it would disintegrate you.
Yeah, and why the robe wasn't halved. The robe just drops. I was wondering, like, why didn't the robe get cut in half?
The special effect didn't work. Now that I knew from the making of Star Wars, narrated by Robert Conrad.
Oh, was that the intention? Was it the robe would get cut in half?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't
realize
realize
the effect is not working. He said, such a bummer. And it was funny because you see Dave Prowse, he's swinging it like a baseball bat at this cloak that's hanging up on a wire.
Uh-huh.
And then the bottom half of the cloak drops, but the top half stays floating up there.
I gotta go back and watch it. It's been
and
so long.
The bottom half on the ground sets aflame.
Oh. So is that why he's putting his foot on it to stamp out the fire?
He's feeling around. Like, where did Ben go? Where did Ben go? That's why he's tipping his foot in there. He's actually stepping out the fire. Because you don't want the Death Star sprinkler systems to go off.
Oh, no. Once that starts.
You got all that mechanical equipment hooked up to you and stuff. The last thing you need to do is short out in front of the stormtroopers. They don't need to see that.
That's just embarrassing.
The effect did not work.
Wow.
But in the Marvel Comics adaptation, Ben is still talking to Vader as he's bisecting him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's real, it's real fuzzy and weird and stuff. It looks like the saber is slicing him in half and he is disintegrating.
Mm.
So
wow.
the concept of more powerful than you could possibly imagine was elusive to me for the longest time until I started to understand Ben was cheating death.
Right.
And then once I figured that out, me and most of my fellow fans, we thought that the Jedi's connection to the light side of the Force is what guaranteed them everlasting life. Thus, all Jedi faded out when they passed away and became one with the Force. That was just sort of their payoff to their devotion to the light side of the Force, was that they got to live everlasting life. And of course, that all went out the window when Qui-Gon Jinn died in episode 1 and did not disappear.
Been a hell of a lot easier for George just to make Qui-Gon disappear.
It would have been.
When you think about it. That he wouldn't have had to explain really anything.
All those characters are standing there in that domed room while their friend burns on the fire pit right in front of them. With all that long hippie hair burning. Oh, the stench.
Oh, can you imagine?
Oh, the stench. And I don't think Qui-Gon was the type to really manscape either. There's probably more hair burning.
Oh, those robes, they really seal in the flavor, let me tell you. Oh, God.
So Qui-Gon, but he did become one with the Force, but he didn't disappear because he was just sort of this disembodied voice. He couldn't figure out how to cross over and actually be a spirit.
Right.
Ben could, but even at first Ben couldn't figure it out. He could only be a disembodied voice. It wasn't until Hoth when he started to break through.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a lot fuzzier on Hoth than when you see him later in Dagobah. And he starts appearing more and more solid.
Right.
And so he is.
And then by the time he gets to Return of the Jedi, he's sitting on a log.
He's sitting on a log.
He's interacting with, the corporeal world.
Yeah, he's sitting there, got a Mountain Dew on his knee while he's talking to Luke. But I do want to pay tribute to the final appearance of the Spirit of Qui-Gon in Star Wars continuity, as far as we know it at this point. He did appear in Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Very easy to miss the audio cameo from Qui-Gon Jinn because there was so much happening at the sequence, but it's the famous Rey laying on her back, looking up at the stars. Come to me, and be with me is what she says. Yeah, be with me, be with me. Be with me. And then all the voices of the Jedi that we've known from the past flood her head. And among them is Liam Neeson returning for the role of the Spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn. I took that segment into the RFR Sound Lab and did the best I could to minimize the sound effects and the music and bring up the voice of Liam Neeson so we could hear it nice and clearly and isolated. So here it is. Spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn as featured in The Rise of Skywalker.
Every Jedi who ever lived lives in you. We stand behind you, Rey.
You hear a little bit of the Alec Guinness Rey there too.
Rey.
Recreated by taking the word afraid. Don't be afraid. And just isolating the middle part of that segment to make the word Rey happen.
Brilliant.
And we did a recreation of that. We deconstructed that whole thing here on Rebel Force Radio. You can find that on our YouTube channel. The clip is called "How Did They Put Alec Guinness in The Force Awakens?"
I like to be on the other end of that phone call when they call Liam, just to explain to him that he can just record that on the voice memo of his phone. Liam, did you get the? We emailed you the dialogue. Did you get the email on your phone?
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great. Tell George he did a great job. Great job.
Okay,
Wonderful.
All we need you to do, Liam, is just record yourself on the phone. Just read the lines, Liam.
No, I got the Razor phone. It was a good phone, Swank.
No, you're gonna need a smartphone, Liam. Do you have a smartphone?
Oh, yeah, sure. I got the calculator, That's quite a clever little device,
Does one of your kids have a smartphone you could just borrow?
Well, I got the calculator here, Swank, and if you type in the number 80085 and you look at it, and it looks like it says the word boobs.
No, you ever do that, Swank, with the calculator?
No, Liam, your Razor's not going to work. We're going to have you... All right, can we? It's going to be cheaper just to fly him in. Can we fly him? Let's fly him in.
I got the Razor phone here, Swank. I got the calculator. There's nothing I can do about it. So you're just going to have to send the gear out to me.
I forgot that he had so much. That's a lot of dialogue, and he's sort of the ringleader. He's putting the whole scene of what's happening in context because nobody knows the living Force better than Qui-Gon Jinn, and the you know what that's about to happen in that scene. That's right up Qui-Gon's alley.
Yeah, and he's like, "We got your back, Rey. We got your back." So that's great. We stand with you, Rey. So Liam Neeson, that closes the book on the Spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn, at least for now.
Yeah,
at least for now. We know Liam Neeson is chomping at the bit to get back in there and play that role that he loves and knows so well. Liam, he's steeped in the mythology of Star Wars.
I think we're going to see him in Kenobi.
I think
we predict that right now.
I can't wait. I
think we're going to see him in Kenobi.
So we know where we're at, but we don't know where we're going, and hopefully we'll get there soon enough.
Rebel Force Radio.
You've already made that Star Wars reference.
Your source for the Force.
Star Wars parody.
But I'm excited about this one. I am so late to this party. Curb Your Enthusiasm. Mac's been telling me about this for years. He's like, "You're such a Seinfeld fan. Why have you not watched Curb?" And it's just I kept putting it off. And I finally was cruising around, all the streaming platforms and looking for something new to watch. And I was like, "Oh, you know what? There's a new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm." So I started with season 1, and I've just been laughing my you-know-what off at that show. So it's great. So we got a clip from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, this is a great one. It's from season 8, episode 9, the episode entitled Mr. Softy. It's all about Larry having a traumatic experience in the back of an ice cream truck when he was a kid, and he's seeking therapy to talk it out, to hash it all out, and come to terms with his past. And this clip was recommended to us by RFR Patreon member Steel Diver. And he is a big Larry David fan and a big Curb Your Enthusiasm fan. And he reminded me of this Star Wars reference that happens in season 8. And so we're going to listen to it. And I really am excited to play it because Jason has just started watching Curb, and I know he's been loving it. So, and with the new season now underway and on HBO, it only seems appropriate that we feature the mad and flummoxed mind of Larry David here on Rebel Force Radio. Curb Your Enthusiasm, Star Wars reference from season 8.
All right. Let me just point out to you, Larry, that sometimes when people suffer with what I might call the more dramatic forms of narcissism, they have a hard time gauging how long they've been talking about their problems or themselves.
Are you saying I'm a narcissist?
Larry, maybe I can help you understand this way. I had a client. He was quite an illustrious, well-known director. I don't want to reveal who he was, but he did direct Star Wars. And he enjoyed, in his repertoire of things that he liked, to see prostitutes. Now, in that particular situation, if he were to hire a prostitute, let's say for an hour, which was normal for him...
You might as well call him George Lucas. I mean, that's who directed Star Wars.
Well, I would never say that. I would never say that.
Well, you just told me who it was.
I merely alluded to the fact that he was a well-known director. Now, one of the things that he needed to complete his work, it was important.
Everybody knows who directed Star Wars.
Well, not everyone is in show business, Larry.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
My point is...
God knows what you're saying about me.
No one asks about you.
I didn't ask about George Lucas, but you just brought him up.
What a great moment. So obviously, Larry's therapist is... not acknowledging the patient-doctor confidentiality, but damn, that's funny.
That is good.
And then we learned a little something about George Lucas we never knew before either.
That Liam knew.
Oh yeah, sure you know. You know what they say about me in Hollywood.
You must contact me. Play back the entire message.
What message?
Message after the message.
The Emperor commands you to make contact with him. It's a trick. Send no reply.
Oh, we got a little oldie but goodie here from Jason from Reno, Nevada.
Yeah, Jason wrote us, and he says, hi, guys. On the show recently, while talking about Tom Kane and the Star Wars slot machines, I got a few notes for you. We were wondering if those machines were still out there.
Yeah,
and
right.
You could go and play them. They were everywhere in casinos. But Jason has the inside scoop here on the fate of those slot machines. Jason reports to us, all of these slot machines were destroyed on orders of Disney. Disney has 0 gambling properties. All of the Marvel machines, Star Wars, and others like Aliens were destroyed.
Even Aliens?
Well, they were acquired by Disney when they bought Fox.
Right, I know.
Fox.
I can't believe Aliens is a Disney property. It's just crazy.
Yeah, so no alien slots for you.
Yeah,
you're going to have to find some other property to waste your money on. Jason continues to say, I was able to smuggle out some parts like a life-size Yoda that is amazing. The slot. Jason's obviously an insider here. And he reveals to us that the slot machines were all owned by IGT, which is based in Reno, Nevada. It was a dark, dark day when all the machines were suddenly collected nationwide, returned to IGT, and sent to the incinerator. Under guard, no less. We're not even allowed to keep parts and stuff in the offices, but somehow, at home, a few pieces managed to survive the purge. How did that get there? Says Jason. But Jason, he's obviously an insider when it comes to this stuff. He's out there in Reno, Nevada, which is a hot spot in America for gambling and where slot machines are born. I never knew that.
I didn't know that either.
The North Pole for slot machines. Reno, Nevada. It's the North Pole for gamblers too. Because every day is Christmas when you're playing Star Wars slots. So anytime we talk about Star Wars slot machines, oh, by the way, thank you, Jason, for the update. I was wondering. Won't go searching out any Star Wars slot machines if I find myself at a casino, which never happens anyway. But Star Wars slots, back when they were in production, we had a friend at the company who was working on the production of the Star Wars machines. And he supplied to us some of my favorite audio in the history of this podcast. And that is Star Wars slot machine recording sessions with Billy D. Williams and Tom Kane. They're hilarious. And anytime I listen to them, I'm just so fascinated in them, because what would happen is the slot machine would produce a result, and sound effects would occur along with some narration from Billy D. or Tom Kane as Yoda. And Tom always had a lot of fun with the Yoda voice. And what we did was, first I want to hear the Billy D. outtakes. I don't even know if these are outtakes. These are like the actual audio that was used on the machine, but we have it so nice and clean because it's from the recording session directly. And so here's Billy D. Williams and his Star Wars slot machine narration.
Hello. What have we here? I'm Lando Calrissian. Glad to make your acquaintance. You've come to the right place. Trust me, everything's going to be just fine. Wow, this could take a little while. You're doing great. I can tell that you've done this before. You're an old pro. Nice job. See, I told you everything would be fine. Don't worry. This isn't as bad as it looks. Hey, carbon freezing isn't designed for that.
I tell you what, I think they were just hanging out, outside the door of Billy's hotel room and just running tape. That to me doesn't sound like anything he'd have to be scripted for.
There's no way you can listen to that audio without considering the romantic smoothness of one Billy D. Williams and taking those comments totally out of context and applying them in some really interesting ways. And so what would it be like if the professor of smooth Billy D got together with Yoda? I mean, it could happen. This will probably happen in the next Star Wars film. The Knights of the Old Republic film will probably happen in that, where you have a surprise appearance from Lando Calrissian, and he has a scene with Yoda.
Well, I mean, I think Lando is pansexual, so I think Yoda is within that pan.
Yeah, lizards are within the pan.
All right, here we go.
Hello. What have we here? I'm Lando Calrissian.
Adventure you seek?
Glad to make your acquaintance.
Tickle me you do.
You've come to the right place. Trust me, everything's going to be just fine. Wow, this could take a little while. You're doing great. I can tell that you've done this before. You're an old pro. Nice job. See, I told you everything would be fine.
Tickle me.
Don't worry. This isn't as bad as it looks. Hey, carbon freezing isn't designed for that.
All right, it's going to wrap things up for this edition of Rebel Force Radio, but not for the week. We'll be back this Saturday with a live stream at 4 o'clock Eastern. We'll be breaking down whatever news there is that comes out of the Disney Plus Day, as well as that Boba Fett special that is supposed to be airing. So we'll have all those details. We'll also be taking your phone calls. So not just about what we think, we want to hear what you think about it. That's all happening. So make sure that you're following us on YouTube. You're subscribed. You got that notification bell clicked. And then as we go live, you'll get notified on your, your tablet, your PC, mobile phone, what have you.
Landline.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we have
that? Yeah. You got that Ring camera on your doorbell. You'll see me and Swank if you subscribe.
I can only imagine.
We'll just show up whenever we're on. Live on YouTube.
But we're always on Patreon, so check us out at rebelforceradio.com and click on the Patreon banner, or just go to patreon.com/rebelforceradio. Get all the details of how you can get more RFR into your life, including the weekly full show video. That's right, the show that you're listening to right now, the podcast you're listening to right now, you can actually watch. And you get a little... It's pretty much the same thing as you get in the audio podcast, but every once in a while there's little bonus stuff that doesn't make the actual edit. So definitely worth experiencing both ways. Also, when you are a member of our Patreon, you can get exclusive podcasts that you can't get anywhere else. You can't just subscribe to the Babu Freaks or RFR Comlink or the Q&A or the Clone Wars Declassified Remastered, and you certainly can't subscribe to the Star Wars Oxygen archives. Those are only available when you are a supporter of Rebel Force Radio on Patreon. Also, we've got this show coming up this weekend, live show. If you identify yourself to our call screener as a member of RFR's Patreon, you get pushed to the head of the queue. So if you want to sound off, you have a better chance of doing that when you are a Patreon member. It really is one of just the greatest groups of Star Wars fans you can ever imagine. So you certainly won't regret it. So check it out. Again, those details at patreon.com/rebelforceradio. Huge thanks to our sponsors this week, cufflinks.com. Got the cufflinks going on. And our friends at Jimmy Mac showing the tie there. And our friends over at Raycon. And just a reminder, if you want to see Rebel Force Radio in the flesh, we'd love to have you out at ICC-Con in Nashville in April. That's April 29th through May 1st. We're going to be there. Tickets available now. Go to ICCCon.com and use the code RebelForce10. RebelForce10 and save 10% off the ticket price. As I mentioned, Rebel Force Radio is over on YouTube. Please subscribe and click the notification bell. Also, if you'd like to talk to us in between shows, we love to hear from you. Hopefully you have better luck at sending a voice memo than Liam Neeson did when he was recording those lines for Rise of Skywalker. But we accept, voice memos. We accept voicemails at 708-320-1737, or you can just email us, show@rebelforceradio.com. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That Twitter handle is RFR Rebel Force. Everywhere else, we're, of course, at Rebel Force Radio. But above all, if you want to support us here at Rebel Force Radio, the one thing you can do, which costs you nothing but time, and that is to listen to the show. We'd love to have you listening. Love to have you subscribe. If your podcatcher of choice allows you to do so, we'd love to have those reviews. The reviews are great. Just one rule, please.
Make them good.
And we're streaming 24/7 at Apple Podcasts, Jedi News, iHeart, TuneIn, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon, Audible, Pandora, Samsung. Anywhere you can find podcasts, you'll find us here on Rebel Force Radio, and you will find us here next time. Till there is a next time, I'm Jason.
I'm Jimmy Mac.
And remember,
the Force will be with you, always.
Next time.
Rebel Force Radio.
Tickle me, you do.